Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
Uh-huh.
And I'm Carnage.
And today we're talking about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the sequel to the Venom 2018 movie. Let's just get right into it. There's no need for some background info right now. I will start with my opinion. I actually kind of enjoyed some of it. I think it's a lot better than the first one, and I don't know if that's going to be a surprise to you guys, because I don't know what your opinions are.
I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
I think it's better than the first one, but I still didn't like it.
Okay, Daniel, what do you think?
I didn't hate it.
Okay,
I felt like it's okay.
I liked it because it felt schlocky, and I enjoyed that.
Well,
It's also at such a brisk pace too, where it's not boring. It moves pretty fast, and you can kind of understand what everyone's trying to do. And maybe you could argue that the brisk pace is to the film's detriment, but I thought it flowed nice. I thought, you could actually tell the difference between Venom and Carnage when they're fighting. It's not like him and Riot fighting in the last one.
I guess, but I mean, there is more. It's more so distinct because they give him like a different body shape, and then he's got like tons of things sticking out of his back, so it makes it easier to see. But still very similar. A lot of just tentacles and goo shooting at each other.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I
they
get.
kept and
Oh,
like,
you
during
go,
the
you
fight
go.
scenes, they kept doing that dumb thing where like they would be fighting, go back to their human forms, talk, and then start fighting again, just to show you that hey guys, they're underneath the symbiote. In case you forgot, I didn't care for it.
But you think it definitely was better than the first one. I think the best thing the movie did was replace Woody Harrelson's terrible wig in the end credit of Venom. This looks
I
like a
mean,
better wig because everyone knows Woody Harrelson's a bald man.
Well, also
it's still. I don't know. His wig to me still stuck out.
Well, it's because you know he's bald, but it looked a lot better than the last one.
But
yeah.
I mean, obviously the
It
last one
looked like
looked
they
like
went to the
he
Halloween store for the last one.
bought like a carrot top wig.
Yeah.
Well, this one it's still it was better than the last one, but I still found it distracting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I
I
wish
feel
they
like
made movies
I
like this where it's really short. I think this is probably like one of the
I was
easiest
sh-
watches we've ever had to do for a movie.
I was
Honestly,
shocked that like it was an hour and a half, and that was like what total including credits too.
I think it's like 80 something minutes without credits.
It was ridiculously short.
It was beautiful. This thing's not loading. It's okay, it's frozen. All right, whatever. But yeah, let's just assume that it's 80 minutes long. This is probably the best. Um, they have a terminology for it. It's from Sony's Spider-Man universe, the SSU. It's probably the best one out of that, and that's not really high praise though.
until you get the highest grade in the class, but everyone fails.
Yeah, yeah. As of now, it's the movies are Venom, Venom 2, Morbius, and Madam Web. My lord, what a terrible company! And obviously, there's Venom,
Morbin time.
The Last Dance, and then Craven the Hunter.
Jesus.
But
I think probably
uh,
I don't know how you guys felt about Venom and Eddie's relationship. I thought at points it was a little too over the top, but I actually got a
yeah,
couple of chuckles out of me. Where in the
especially
beginning when they
he kept hating the Dan guy.
well, not even that, he in the beginning they were arguing and then Venom breaks his nose. He's like, "Here, let me fix it so I can break it again," and then he headbutts him again.
Well, something like that's kind of funny. Then like they separate, and it's like it was a little too much bickering. I think that was overdone. Because
Yeah, they're
after a
kind
while, it's
they're
like,
kind
all
of
right,
like a married couple.
yeah, but it's just, I don't know, it's not the same. And we know they're gonna get back together. There's no point in separating them for like a third of the movie.
Yeah, and there's no
It
point
wasn't like it
of
was
Venom going
done
to a
well.
rave.
I think maybe they could have like because they established at the end of the first one, like, all right, we're gonna kind of be this like anti-hero. I feel like they could have focused on
I
that a
think he
little
used the
bit
word
more.
lethal protector.
Like, I feel like they could have shown some more scenes in the beginning of them like actually doing that instead of him just like eating chickens and arguing about not eating.
He has any human
Yeah,
brains. I
maybe
thought
like
he
he
needed
stops
just
a crime or
anything.
something, and he
Yeah.
tells him not to eat anybody. He's
Well,
like,
because
I'll
they
let the
well
ladies handle
they
this.
yeah, because they only did it that one where that lady was getting robbed and then she punched the guy and then Venom tossed him in the dumpster.
Well, one thing I did want to mention too, we know we always talk about how the audience, when there's an F bomb in a PG-13 movie, they always want it to be a dramatic moment in a movie. And I think this is one of the few cases where I felt like it kind of worked because it got a chuckle at me. He's like, "Yeah, screw this guy," and he just eats him. He eats Cletus at the end.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better ones. Well, that
So
was part of my problem with the movies. Like, I feel like they were giving us so much into Carnage's backstory. I'm like, who cares? He's a
yeah.
serial killer. What more do you need to
Oh,
know? He
well,
likes to
because
kill people.
well, and the thing is, it's not even like they were trying to do it in a way that makes him sympathetic.
And they were
He's,
trying to
st-
make him sympathetic.
I mean, not. It didn't come across that way. It was just like, oh, it's just explaining how he became the way he became. It wasn't like I didn't feel bad for him at all.
I feel like they were trying to like make him a little sympathetic. Like, oh, here's his tragic backstory, getting beaten by
Well,
his
see,
dad.
see that works in the way if it would have worked if Woody Harrelson had played the character a little different instead of um, like he was just because Woody Harrelson's. I don't know if you guys found it this way, but his like it felt like he was going out of his way to play like an over the top villain. Like he almost to me felt uh like a Batman villain, like from like the
Like a
like the
crazy person.
90s. Yeah, like the 90s like campy Batman. Like it was like he was straight out of a comic book.
Well, there were
Like
some parts of that, like he was just killing people and just like I think he stole the car and some guy was driving and just threw the truck off the bridge.
that part did make me
Yeah,
chuckle.
stuff like that made me chuckle. Him being unabashedly evil, but then there's scenes where it's like, "Oh, Eddie, my tragic
Yeah,
backstory.
he's like, no one
Eddie,
cared
Well,
that
my
well,
Granny
see, well,
beat me too, or something.
yeah, well, that's the thing is like that. Well, that's the I was saying is like it would work to give him a sympathetic backstory if he wasn't just straight up insane, like where he's like like that. Like if almost more like a he's not he doesn't he is insane, but he doesn't just like he's not like a cartoon character insane.
I just don't see why he needs to give a serial killer a tragic backstory."
I guess maybe they're just maybe trying to just give him a motivation, like a plan,
But yeah,
not a motivation for killing, because he's a serial killer, he's a murderer. But I
well,
guess
yeah,
they're
because
just
they're
trying
trying
to.
to. Oh, he needs to get back to his
I don't
lover
know.
who has superpowers.
Is she a
I
comic book villain too? Like, is she actually real?
I, I have no idea.
I didn't do
So
my research today.
apparently, I was getting the names confused. So apparently, that's
She
Shriek, but
is.
the other one I was talking about was Scream or something. I was getting all the names mixed up.
So I didn't know
See,
this was a real person. Shriek.
yeah, so I got the name Scream and Shriek mixed up. Shriek is the one
Oh,
I was
she
talking
actually
about.
is the lover of Cletus Cassidy. That's canon. Wow.
Because I don't know if you remember, she was on that ride in Universal Studios, Scream.
The 3D Spider-Man one.
Yeah, part of like the Sinister Six or whatever.
She is.
Yeah, on the ride.
I don't remember
I
that at
thought her name
all.
was Shriek. Apparently, it's Scream.
Anyway, it's not important.
Yeah,
It's not, but I was
Greg's
getting the names
burning
mixed
out.
up. I didn't even realize that.
So one thing that I find interesting is when I'm looking at the reviews, from all the critical reviews from professional critics, it has better scores than the original Venom. It has a 57% on Rotten Tomatoes as opposed to the 30% on the other one. But this one has a 5.9 out of 10 rating from users, and Venom from 2018 has a 6.6, which is
Whoa.
interesting. Wonder
You would
why
think it
people
would,
seem to prefer the first one over this.
especially when this one really dives into their like relationship. I don't know. And it also has a iconic symbiote alongside Venom. Like Carnage is the second most famous behind Venom.
Oh yeah. The thing also I wish this movie did, and again this goes with the brisk pace, is that they only fight once in the entire movie, and it's at the
Yeah.
very end, and they don't really fight for a whole lot. Because I wish they could have just built up Carnage a little bit more.
Well,
Yeah.
they kind of did, right? They showed him just. I mean, granted, he was just killing innocent people indiscriminately.
Yeah, that's true.
His his breakout scene.
Yeah, like he kills a bunch of people there, kills the warden,
Yeah,
and then he
like
just goes on a rampage.
like that one guard, he just took him and hurled him full force into a cell. It's like, jeez.
So there was a lot of, I guess, I wouldn't say action, but he was doing
You
stuff.
could say there's a lot of carnage.
Boo.
Can you kick him from the
Yeah,
chat?
I wish.
Hey, hold on. That is not as bad as as the line in the movie when they're trying to get everyone together for their marriage, their ceremony, and Screech breaks into Brock's apartment. She goes, "Brockalicious." And I was like, "Oh
Well, speaking of
no!"
like silly humor, when Venom first appears at the end at the cathedral, and then Carnage says like, "Oh, it's time to die, Father," and the priest is like, "Huh? No, not you, Father. You, Father."
Yeah.
I think they ended up killing the priest anyway.
Oh yeah, well he had Venom pinned up. He goes, "Power up," and then eats the
Oh yeah.
priest.
See, there was stuff like that that made me chuckle, or when Venom sees a Carnage, he goes, "Oh, time to go."
Yeah, oh, that's a red one.
Like that's why I can't, because the first one was just, I feel like a pain to get through.
Yeah, I feel like if you just switch out some scenes, like there was no need for Venom going to that Halloween, that costume party.
Rave.
Rave.
Yeah, that that scene was just like pointless to me.
Well, how else are we supposed to know that Venom really needs Brock, but he's deflecting? He's saying, "We don't need him." How else are we supposed to know that, Daniel? Explain that.
I mean, you just imply that where he can't connect with any other host, so
Yeah, you can
he
imply
kind
that every person he's been taking over as a host, he's been killing. That's one way to show it.
Well, honestly, that's part of my problem with the movie too. Like they break up and get back together for really no reason. I mean, Eddie, he's like, "Oh man, now that this guy's coming to kill me, I guess I need Venom." And Venom's like, "Oh, I guess I kind of miss Eddie." It's like not like really strong reason to get back together.
Yeah. Well, I think also too, like for this movie, I wouldn't have me personally, I would not have brought back the ex girlfriend. Because I think then, all right, he loses the girlfriend. Now he's struggling with his only relationship he still has with Venom.
I mean, that woman was engaged to Eddie, broke up with him, and got re-engaged in less than a year.
And probably in the next movie, she's going to break up with the next guy and then get back with Eddie in less than a year.
She's gonna have more engagement rings. And who's that celebrity that has like 6 engagement rings?
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, she's gonna break her record.
She's
No, there's one Hollywood actress I saw on her Wikipedia page. She was big in the like the 50s, 40s, and 50s. I forget her name. She got married like 8 times.
Jeez.
You think Tom Brady's going to top that?
Why do you bring him up? Let's see what else about Venom 2. So what did you guys like? You said you're pretty mixed on it, but what did you like?
I mean, some of the jokes were kind of funny. I don't have a lot of positives.
I thought the
I
action
was
in
gonna
this
say
one was better.
I didn't. I was gonna say I didn't like Cletus by himself, but I did like that when Cletus got the powers. He was just going on a rampage. Like,
It
it's
was
like he's,
causing carnage.
Boo.
They make it too
Yeah.
easy.
Mhm.
Yeah, what you mean? Like he was just like kill, like the way he was killing. Like I said, I just love that he just grabbed the truck because I guess it was when he just throws it off the bridge. Because why not? It's
Or
like his torture.
his breakout scene, he just like just brutal.
So yeah, I agree with Craig, where there should have been more scenes of him just being evil and liking it, just
Yeah.
like doing heinous things, but he's laughing like a maniac.
That's
I
why
would
I
be I
think
would be
like
lying though. Woody Harrelson did look like he had a lot of fun doing this
oh no oh absolutely. Like he definitely had the time of his life.
with that terrible wig.
It really it I was saying before, I was just like it reminded me of the wig from Deadpool. Deadpool Wolverine.
It kind of does look like it.
Like I feel like they should have just I think in the comics he's a redhead
Yeah, he is.
Cletus, so
I
like
think
I
he has
mean
curly hair.
I respect them for like trying to be comic book accurate, but I feel like in this case he should have just been bald. It was a little jarring for me. Like I kept looking at it. I
To me, that's the biggest problem is just that I think the breakup really was unnecessary because it doesn't really accomplish anything. Yeah, we need each other, but I guess not really. Because if Carnage didn't exist, then Eddie would have no reason to get back with Venom.
And they didn't even know they were going up with symbiote until they got to the
That's
cathedral,
why I
right?
feel.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like the direction for this one should have been focusing on them being the lethal protector, like actually seeing them throughout, like to establish that they actually are going out and being this anti-hero, you know, and maybe Venom's just brutally murdering people, and they're struggling on how to be a hero, and then maybe they fight Carnage, in the middle of the movie. They get beaten up, and they're like, all right, now we actually have to stop him. I think that would have been a better direction. Like you don't need to bring back his ex, who'll probably dump that guy and find another guy in 6 months. Like there's just like that scene though. Like it did make me chuckle because like where she's like, "Oh, I want to talk to you in person." Like, why would you call up your ex to meet in person to tell them you got engaged to someone else?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that sounds
what was the point of
cruel.
this? Yeah.
She's
That I
like,
was
look
like,
how happy I am
Aren't
without
you even
you.
sure about this?
yeah, I was like, that's something you could just why would you even tell your ex? Like they can find out through social media. Like why?
Yeah,
Which like I have to talk to you in person, and then
just
he
cruel.
obviously wasn't. Oh, Colin.
What?
I was saying, yeah, he talks to him in person. He's obviously not taking it well. Then she goes, Eddie, why aren't you congratulating me? Why aren't you so happy for me? It's like, are you stupid? Like, why would he be
and
over the moon for you?
well, and the best is like to pile it on. She's like, you're gonna like. I think she says like you're gonna mess everything up and stuff like that. I was like, jeez, just like he just got
Talking
like,
about his alcohol addiction too while you're at it.
or why? Or she didn't congratulate him on his big story, helping them find all those bodies and stuff.
I think
I
that was
didn't
before
realize
that, but yes, point still stands.
I didn't realize to get engaged to someone else, you have to get the approval of your ex. Usually, you don't ask them. I mean, I've never heard of that
It wasn't
before.
even
Yeah,
approval, Craig. It was just her to like goad in front of him. Like, oh, look at
yeah.
this.
At
I'm
that
engaged.
at that
Not to
point,
you though.
just send a picture of the ring on your middle finger to them.
Yeah.
I was
Oh yeah.
like,
So that's something that made me chuckle when Venom broke up with Eddie. He jumps in like the biker's back and flips him off as he's driving. Like I said, those few things I enjoyed. Like just like it's probably more so the humor because everything else I felt like was mostly a drag.
Really? I thought it was a fun little movie.
Well, except there are moments like when Eddie and the symbiote are bickering, but we have to hear Carnage like talk about himself. It's like, oh,
It's kind of
and
funny
then
though that Venom is a better detective than Eddie, and Venom just came to this planet not too long ago.
yeah. It's like, what does he even need Eddie for? I guess it's just a meat bag.
Well, again, I'd be curious to see this movie if, like, this interpretation of Venom, if it was more like the comics where Eddie is in control and the symbiote is almost like influencing him. I mean, I guess in this, it didn't work for the first movie, but I guess in this case, where it's like a buddy movie, it works better for this. But still, it'd be interesting to see Venom like how he's supposed to be. you know.
Yeah, but I think we're in too deep.
Oh well, yeah. There's
Yeah.
a third one coming
Yeah.
out, and it looks like it's more of the same. Venom in the trailer takes over a horse. I don't know what's going on. He's gonna kill that horse.
Become the lethal steed.
Well, the thing I liked about Carnage in the comics was that he is always like he looked physically inferior to Venom because Carnage is pretty small, but he's more powerful than Venom. But in here, they're like the same size, kind of.
I mean, they went out of their way with like him having all the spikes and everything, like
Well, I
or
think in the
the
comics,
arms constantly out. Yeah,
that is like how it is in the comics.
he did look more unstable. Like he's meant to have that more like kind of unstable look than Venom.
Yeah, because like Carnage always looked scrawnier in the comics than Venom.
Honestly, I feel like this movie should have like set up something where like Venom and Brock are actually working like hand in hand with that one detective, almost like Batman and Gordon. That would have been funny. Like the cops like, you can't keep going around eating people.
Why are you showing me this body? Oh my
Oh
god.
god.
Yeah,
Open your
Venom, not
eyes.
Venom. Looking at Carnage in the comics, he looks skinny. He's like Spider-Man build.
Or you should look at Toxin, who they're setting up, but he's even skinnier. Like he looks like
Really?
a stick. Yeah, look at Toxin.
Yeah, who is
He's
the
even
Toxin?
skinnier.
Stickman.
All these pictures I'm seeing. Oh, is he like does he have like Spider-Man colors? Is that the right one I'm looking at? Where he's kind of like reddish at the top and then it transitions to
It's
blue.
just this one picture of him. He looks skinnier, but some of these other ones. Oh, never mind. Looks biggish. There's just this one picture. He looked like a stick. I was like, is he supposed to be like the most powerful of them?
So
Because
when do they tease
some of
Toxin?
these other ones
That's the
at the
detective.
very end, yeah, the
Oh,
detective's name
that's
is
right.
Pat Mulligan. As soon as
Oh,
they
his
said Mulligan,
eyes.
I was like, they're setting up Toxin.
So is Toxin derived from Carnage, who is derived
Yeah.
from
Yep,
blood being
yep.
mixed with the
He's
symbiote?
um. I don't know.
I don't think it was well.
It's not always blood. It's just it's the symbiote like reproduces or something like that, or part of it breaks off and goes on to a new host, and it can like form. Like the symbiotes like in the comics, as far as I know, it's like they reproduce like asexually and like they have no ties to their
Oh,
offspring.
really?
Yeah, like they don't. They just as far as I mean, I should be doing a little more research, but
See, I did not know that. I just assumed, I always thought Carnage
let
was
me
a
look it up.
mixture of venom and, blood, hence the red look.
Well,
Then again, when I thought of that, I was a kid, and I guess I never decided to
I
read
mean
on
that
the
could be
origins.
somewhat true because I think in the Ultimate Universe, I think blood might be more involved. Not entirely sure, but you could be partially right.
I hope so, otherwise I'm going to feel like an idiot.
Oh,
It says here for Mulligan, he one night while on duty, he came across a site where Carnage was giving birth to the new symbiote. Carnage
what a
needing a
sight.
host. He was hiding it. He was trying to hide it, so the symbiote bonded with Mulligan. But Carnage was trying to kill Toxin, but Venom was trying to protect it.
Why?
Said he was looking for a new partner, like I guess like a partner in crime, or was doing the best to protect the new symbiote with the intention of raising it to become a new partner. Venom was also concerned as the 1,000th symbiote of their line, the new symbiote could potentially become psychotic and violent because of genetic breakdown. So I guess at this point, Venom had turned to more because he's Toxin is he's new, like he's relatively new. He came out in 04.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
yeah, well, because Carnage isn't that.
Well, he's from the
as
90s. He's like 91, it said.
Yeah, I mean Venom, in terms of Marvel history, isn't he what came out in the '80s, late '80s?
I think it was 86 or 87, I believe it said.
Yeah.
So the symbiotes, as Venom, he came
Oh,
out in
88. 88.
88. Yeah,
Wow.
The symbiote with Spider-Man was in
3.
84.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. 4. Alien costume.
Yeah, so
1984.
the symbiotes themselves, like from Venom down, aren't that old of characters. I mean, Venom isn't like young, but I mean, obviously now since those three, there's been countless ones. But because I don't even think Null, their god, is that old either. Like
Is he like only 4 or 5 years old? I know he's recent too, because if you pull up our old Marvel books, he's not going to appear.
um. So as his full self, he was in 2018. His full
Okay,
appearance.
close.
Because he came out, technically, he came out in the Thor God of Thunder storyline, like in 2013. Like that's when Gore got the Necro, the all black sword. But no, wasn't fully identified. But it was him because he created it, and then they brought him back.
So, what is Toxin's gimmick that they're setting up, and is he even in Venom 3?
They confirmed that guy's coming back.
Yeah, he
in
is.
Venom 3.
But what is Toxin's
Yes,
whole deal? What's his shtick?
I think it's the same thing as the other.
Oh,
I think I think he's kind of more like Venom. Like he's not like Carnage where he's just purely evil. I think he kind of can play. He's played both sides, but obviously he's the strongest of them.
Yeah, because the thing we said last episode, the child of the symbiote's always stronger than the parent.
Yeah. Says he's the first symbiote that Spider-Man considers an ally. So he
Really?
generally is a good guy, but it seems he's also been at times the bad guy too, and he's allied with Venom.
Interesting.
So
interesting stuff about all those similar looking symbiotes.
yeah. I mean, the movies don't dive into it all. I mean, obviously, with comic books, you're always going to get way more lore, and they can always keep adding stuff as they want. But
Also, they're adding lore over the course of decades versus a movie which you have minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Any other
Come on, you,
positives?
you seem to be the most positive one out of all of us.
Yeah,
What did you like?
I thought, like I said, I liked the pace of the movie. I thought it flowed pretty well, and it's 86 minutes. Just looked at it without credits. That is amazing. I love that. But again, the pace is like a double-edged sword because then you have to have certain attention to other things, and then they decide to use that certain attention on Venom going to raves instead of adding it to actual character stuff. But I thought the movie flowed pretty well. I liked the chemistry a lot more in this one with Eddie and Venom than the first one. I thought their bickering at times was good. Then, yeah, it felt like sometimes they're an old married couple. And
I get that's what they were going for, but like I said, I don't think they need to break up to achieve that
yeah,
goal.
they
Just
should have done
wasted so
that.
much
But
time.
the bickering and, they could bicker and then the result of their bickering is becoming even like their bond is stronger instead of them, breaking up and Venom trashing his bike, his only form of transportation.
Oh yeah, something that was funny. Like,
The humor in this one's a lot better too. I actually got some genuine chuckles, and yeah, I mean, listen, it's not really good or really great. I thought it was good. I can't. I think the last time we not wholeheartedly disagreed on a movie, but I think Cocaine Bear was one you guys hated, and then I was like, it was okay. I think this is like another case. You guys don't really like it, and I kind of like this one.
yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's one of those movies it has its moments. It makes me chuckle, and I think I was expecting more symbiotes running around and
In this one,
for the moment. Well, at least Venom and Carnage, I mean, the fact that they only fought once at the end, and Venom was not aware of him until the very end.
until he sees him, he's like, "That's a red one."
Well, like Craig said, like I would have enjoyed more seeing like him just running through the streets, Carnage, and just destroying people, or just because.
Well, I think also another thing that I like is that it's more silly. Because imagine you have the same screenplay and everything, but Zack Snyder directed it. It would be very different and not
Well,
funny. It'd
I'm
be
sure I'm
sad.
sure I'm sure Cletus's time in prison would have been very different too.
Probably would have been a happy ending in prison, right, Daniel?
If
But
Diddy was there.
and they would actually show Venom eating people's heads in such graphic detail. Zack Snyder
Yeah.
would be like,
Well,
so
he wouldn't have
cool.
stopped. He wouldn't have stopped at the head.
Oh yeah, he'd be eating everything.
Yeah. Well, Zack Snyder probably would have had him like cooking like the intestines like it's like a
Like a
sausage.
sausage. Yeah, slurping it up.
When we talked about Zack Snyder showing graphic detail about eating people, that reminded me of. I know you probably haven't heard the production for The Last of Us Part Two.
No.
No.
Well, one of the scenes, I guess spoilers, where the main character Joel gets his head beaten in with a golf club, and they kind of show you all the detail of his head getting beaten in, and people were saying like the animators are getting like grossed out because they're like we have to animate this graphic detail. This is kind of gross and disgusting. It's like I don't care. Keep animating. In fact, we're gonna like try to simulate it to make it even more detailed.
Ugh.
People are like, why are you doing this? So imagine Zack Snyder's like torturing these VFX artists, like, yeah, more graphic detail.
Yeah, I want to see the muscles being torn apart, and I want to see the spinal cord being ripped out, and the spinal fluid spraying everywhere.
Well, say something, yeah, we need more detail. Let's try to get like a pig and simulate like the getting ripped in half. Made me think of Zack Snyder doing something like that. 'Cause I see it. I could see it.
Oh,
Well,
100%.
the thing is if Zack Snyder directed this one, it would be incomplete the initial release, and then he would save it with his director's
Yeah, his
cut.
director's
Which
cut
is
would
like
be
twice as long.
yeah, it'd be like 100 or 200 minutes. Well, one thing we didn't
Yeah.
mention is that Andy Serkis directed this.
I made a joke about it last week about like Gollum directing it.
Oh, did you?
I'm pretty sure it's something to that effect.
I thought, I don't know if it's his directorial debut. I want to say it's not. Oh, that's the other person. But I thought, as a director, he did an okay job. My main thing with this one is that at least you could see the fight scene at the end. The other one was kind of hard. Again, the color differences, and this one helped exponentially more than
Well,
Venom
it also
fighting
helped.
Riot.
It also helped too that they weren't like the symbiotes weren't trying to like morph into each other. There was like that weird shot of like the symbiotes like morphing, and then the two guys are like shoving each other.
Yeah, like the only time Cletus and Eddie fought was when the bell got hit and the symbiotes were hurt, so then they just started fighting each other.
I found like it was like funny in a stupid way that like Cletus's girlfriend like has a screech and like Toxin like when he hit her was like shut up.
Yeah, Carnage.
A Carnage literally hit her was like shut up.
She does that again, she's gonna die.
He's like, "Oh."
Yeah, that was funny too. That made me chuckle. Because I think that's what I mean. Maybe we talked about this. I forget what superhero movie we're talking about, but villains who are just evil and you don't make them sympathetic, I just like a lot more. Like they're just evil
Yeah,
and they like it. You don't. Not
I think
everybody has to be sympathetic
yeah.
to the
I think for
audience.
this one you just cut out both girlfriends. Like you don't need any love interest in this. Just have it Eddie and Venom go against Carnage. And just have Cletus be a killer for just because he's a psychopath.
Well, that's more to my point too. Like with all this scenes of like Carnage's backstory. Like he's a serial killer. What backstory? He's obviously disturbed. He's like, oh, I need to marry my wife and go on a killing spree with her. Like, dude, why? I
Yeah,
feel like we're just
because
wasting time here.
yeah, especially it was fine like when they were talking in the sense of like oh like he's explaining like how he killed everyone in his family to Eddie, like he pushed his grandma down a flight of stairs and like dropped a toaster while his mom was in the bath. Like all right, he's insane, he's always been insane, whatever. But then like at the end, like when he's about to kill Eddie, and he's like, oh, like no one stop, they all beat me and stuff. Like,
No.
this is the climax fight. Like, don't throw that in there.
No. You don't get to claim you're the victim when you've murdered like dozens of people.
You threw a
No.
car off a bridge for no reason. I was confused, like when Cletus was talking about Eddie's backstory in the beginning, with like like talking about Eddie's father and stuff. I was just confused. Anyone else like know the answer to that?
Well, I guess he just had a bad father, and apparently it's public knowledge. Because how would somebody like Cletus know about that?
Yeah,
Is
he was
it
like,
in the
"Oh,
newspapers?
you killed your mother just by being born." I was like, "How do you know that?"
Yeah, did he hire like a PI in prison?
And also, like, they didn't even set any of that up. Like the first one, they didn't touch on Eddie's backstory at all. Just like him being a current failure.
And being a sweaty loser.
Yeah, they definitely cleaned him up for this one.
Yeah, the
first
other
one-
movie just felt like disgusting and gross.
Yeah, like he was fighting a flu the whole time.
I feel like you almost like smell him. Like he's like you looked at him. It's like Jesus. Like what were you doing that you're so sweaty? Like go take a shower.
He always had like a gray sweatshirt on too,
And
so
you
it's
can
like
see the
just
stains, sweat stains.
It's gross.
You just look like a homeless man, a confused, sweaty homeless man.
I I think they did miss one opportunity is when Mrs. Chen had the symbiote. That would have been hilarious if Venom went on a rampage with her.
But he'd probably kill Mrs. Chen too.
Oh,
Nah,
it's
that would've-
funny, so
that
I
would've
looked
been
up
great,
the
though.
actress,
Okay.
and apparently she's not even an actress. She's some pharmacist.
In real life?
Yeah.
Really?
You know, good for her.
I just think it's funny because you think like, oh, she's just some small actress. No, she's actually a pharmacist. I guess she wants to be an actress. But I don't know why. Yeah, you're probably gonna lose
Yeah,
yourself.
she's an American actress and pharmacist. Best known for a role as convenience store entrepreneur and Venom host Mrs. Chen.
Did she write this article herself?
I guess.
Entrepreneur and venomous. What would the name have been? Venom Chen?
Oh, she actually was in Kung Pao as Mother Chen. That's the role.
She only play Mrs. Chen in any. It's like you see that one actor, the one guy who only plays like thugs named Hector.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
It's the guy from Bruce Almighty.
God, yeah. Look at her credits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 of her credits just say either Mother Chen or Mrs. Chen. There is a
Are the
promotional
ones-
web series called Chen's Market.
Oh my god.
Based off this?
I mean, the Kung Pao thing's pretty funny. I had no idea she was in that movie.
Also, I at first I didn't realize, but the actress who plays Shriek was
Naomi Harris.
Tia Doma from Pirates.
She was also Moneypenny
Really?
from James Bond.
Yep. I just
I
remember.
know.
Oh, she's also in Rampage. Let's read my
Yeah, she was.
Calypso?
Yeah,
Calypso.
Tia Doma / Calypso.
I did not know that.
Well, now you do.
I didn't recognize her at first, but then when she got she had the eye at the end, and then like her hair was like, I was like, wait,
Wait a minute.
Mrs. Chen.
Well, part of the reason I looked her up is because I saw the trailer for the third Venom movie. Like they're dancing in Vegas for some reason. So, and we all know she's gonna be in the third one. That's why I was like,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
That was
Mrs. Chen.
yeah, it's Venom dancing with her.
I did another part that made me chuckles when like they first introduce her again in this movie, and like Eddie like says hi, and then you hear Venom's voice like inside his head. It's like say hi in Mandarin to her. It's just like she's his like drug dealer, just getting chocolates just for Venom.
And he's like, "Yeah, you want us to stop protecting you?" Yeah,
And she gave it right back to him.
the interactions between Venom, like when Eddie's talking and then you just hear Venom's voice in his head, were pretty good too.
Like another chuckle for was when he's yelling at Venom and he goes to I guess the correctionals officer and goes, "What'd you say to me?" And he's like, "I don't have an explanation for that. I'm sorry."
I have Venom was like, "You suck," and he goes, "You suck," like to the lady.
I just love his answer. It's like, yeah, I don't have an explanation. I'm just weird.
Is Eddie like though in the comics? Is he like this like awkward? Because like
No.
I was gonna say like he's
Craig, that scene reminds me from Transformers 3 when the Decepticons sent Shia to go find out what the Autobots' plan is, and they're at that hangar with Shia has that watch on, it touches that guy's top of the head, and he's like, "What are you doing?" "Nothing. What are you doing?" "Get away from me."
yeah. Or what was it like with that what when Venom and Eddie went to the bathroom and that one lady's like in the stall next to him just looking over, and then like he comes out and Venom says something mean to him, and Eddie's facing the detective. And he just goes to the detective and goes, "You don't deserve nice things." And the guy just looks at him like, "What?"
Yeah, see, something like that was definitely the highlights of the movie. But like when they just, I don't know, I think just a lot I just didn't like because
Well,
that was the best part,
yeah.
the best parts.
And that's why I feel like it would have been it would have been even better like inner dialogue like when they're trying to fight crime together. That would have been funny. Well, there was one scene that felt straight out of a comic book with when after Eddie they discover where the bodies are, and then like the reporter's like, "Oh, this is a big break for Eddie Brock who had a big downfall. Welcome back, Eddie." I was like, "Wait, what?"
I mean, he's just a journalist, and he was gone for what, a year in the movie's universe. Like a big
Yeah,
downfall. Like he was fired from his job, and now he's successful again. Like a year is not really like
yeah. Also,
personally he suffered, but professionally not so
and he
much.
deserved his downfall. He used his girlfriend's confidential information to get her fired.
Well, yeah, that. But I'm saying like there's a difference between like a professional and personal downfall. He had a
Yeah,
very big personal downfall, but professionally, okay, he got fired, but you could always find some other job. So it didn't make as much
yeah.
sense.
And then what was it like with when he breaks her out of the Ravencroft Institute, and and then she for the first time uses her scream, and it they almost like he almost drops her. He's like, "Don't do that, it hurts him."
Oh yeah, then he gets mad like, don't do that or I'll kill you.
Craig, what was that thing you said you wanted to add?
Oh, this is just like a minor thing that made me chuckle. So obviously, we all look at the Wikipedia just for some like basic background info, and I saw the post for Venom: Let There Be Carnage, and it's kind of funny how similar in the picture Carnage and Venom look to each other. And you could say, oh, they're offspring; they should look similar, but at a quick glance, you might think it's like a mirror image of each other. Like Carnage on
Yeah,
the
they
left,
kind of
Venom's on
do.
the right.
Yeah, they're essentially their heads are just tilted a little, like slightly off.
And you can see a tiny bit of red on Carnage's face.
Posters just aren't what they used to be anymore. They all are like lazy.
Well, I was saying more to the point of how similar the symbiotes look, which again, why are they fighting symbiotes every movie? But that's a whole nother
Oh, we already covered
issue.
that in the first review where we barely talked about the movie. And we're more just talking about like the background stuff and like
I
our
mean,
complaints towards the Sony universe.
at least for the third one, it looks like he's not just gonna be fighting other symbiotes. Be like
Isn't he?
creature.
I think he
Well,
is.
it's like creatures from their world, so it's not straight up symbiotes technically.
I thought he was being hunted by symbiotes.
I don't know that clip of like or that scene from the trailer, like where they're on the airplane. It looks like that doesn't look like a straight up symbiote. That looks like something else.
I'll be honest, I don't remember the trailer too much. All I really remember is the horse and Mrs. Chen.
So when does it come out? Is it next week?
I think it's like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, All I care about.
I'm definitely interested in seeing it. Like, I'll be lying if I said I wasn't interested.
Really? Well,
Especially,
it's because you like Venom.
oh, especially for
I
the
do like Venom,
Mrs. Chen scenes. They have to show her use the symbiote.
Yeah, that'd be funny. She accidentally like just eat somebody's head. So, do you guys have any closing thoughts about the movie? Final opinion? Summary?
It's definitely better than the first one.
Hmm.
I I there were moments I chuckled. I just think they could have done better for this one. They had the right pieces if they maybe cut out some more, but it's watchable. I don't hate this movie by any means. It's not. I'm not going to say it's terrible. It's okay, but there are some chuckles.
Craig?
Like I said, I didn't really care for the first one. This one, I would say, is like a step better. It's not great, but it's definitely better.
I like that it's
I don't
silly,
have too many positives.
it's schlocky. There's definitely some things I would change. Like we talked about Venom and Eddie breaking up in the movie. That was pointless. But I actually kind of liked it, which is a surprise. But I a lot better than the first one. Like I said, I'm curious on how the third one's gonna play out, but we'll have to find out soon. With all of that being said, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. Colin.
I'm Craig.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Robert Sala.
Oh,